not only when we get things right, but also when we miss things. So as Reverend Al said, true leadership will address these issues and lead this community through this epidemic. And so the question is, will we see true leadership?
Do you think that the city actively tried to not test for Legionnaire's disease in the hospital?
I think that the city did not aggressively try to make sure that this was being tested. If you knew that there was a Legionnaire's disease that had broke out in Harlem, then why do you, even after that was out, as one of them said, when they heard about Legionnaires, and then they said, well, test for that. Why did they have to ask for that? Why wasn't it automatically tested since it was already publicly said there was an outbreak? Right.
So why do you think the hospitals were like, A, not testing, as his question, and B, even when families tried to get an answer like what happened to their loved ones, was the hospital constantly trying to hide it? Or there was
I think that it was somewhere between them hiding it and not taking the value of these lives and the health of these people seriously. And you're correct. When COVID broke out, the first thing they did was test you for COVID. When Legionnaire's disease broke out in Harlem, it seems that one of the last things they got to, and sometimes the victims had to diagnose themselves. It shows a lack of equal regard and respect for our health and our lives.
So we know this isn't the first Legionnaire's outbreak in Harlem in recent years. Are you finding any similarities between this and the outbreak in 2018?
Yeah, the similarities is neglect.
But any similarities with any contractors who
I think that, well, Scotto can answer that better than I can, or Ben Crump, but I think all of it is neglect. That's why you're in the House of Justice. And I think that they devalue us so that they think nobody's going to do anything about it. And that's why we keep doing what we're doing with NAN. This is the second press conference we had, and I haven't heard an affirmative answer from the city and from this construction company that would satisfy us not escalating.
Can you please repeat that question?
Yeah, so any similarities found between this outbreak and the one in 2018?
Do you mean the 2015 outbreak in the South Bronx?
The 2018 one, Sugar Hill Projects?
I mean, other than the city owning some of the buildings, we don't know yet. I mean, I think the big difference here is having a cooling tower on the top of the lab that was under construction, having been essentially a new cooling tower because it was part of that new ground-up construction. So we don't know as of yet. It's something we'll find out during this litigation, if there were other parties that were responsible for maintaining or cleaning that particular cooling tower in the time from when it became operational in May to when the outbreak started in July.
I would simply respond to your question that it really begs the question, why didn't we learn lessons from the 2018 outbreak? I mean, how many times does this have to happen in Harlem before we say we're going to do the proper testing and we're going to follow the law? And maybe if they got it right in 2018, in 2025, we wouldn't have so many deaths to cause this epidemic to become a reality and affect real people. Real people.
Do you think the lack of testing for community members rises to medical malpractice?
Well, I'll say this, as Reverend Al says so eloquently, it's almost like disregard, disrespect. It's the same thing when black women are told when they complain of pain that it's not taken seriously by medical professionals. So we have to deal with the, subconscious bias of people every day. So I don't know if it rises to the level of medical malpractice, but it is certainly an issue for black people in America when our complaints aren't taken seriously by medical professionals.
Let me say this in closing. Thank you all for being here. I would say to you, to your question, that the attorneys would call it medical malpractice. I would call it medical no practice when it comes to black folks. Thank you very much.